Always been a Viper guy, loved Vipers all my life, but had a best friend, his name's Breck. He decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on a Gen 1, which he has a wonderful story on. He actually barn finds out in Michigan, I believe. He brought it back, and his Gen 1 Viper, no door handles, no windows, no traction control, nothing like that. And as soon as he said, "You want to go take it out for a drive?" I said, "Yeah." And 20-year-old tires, not in the best condition because it was a barn find, but I loved it ear to ear, despite the fact that it's a side exit exhaust, and I even got snake bitten, despite the fact that, it's hot, despite the fact that it's cramped. I said, this is the car for me. Viper, just raw American, this is exactly the kind of vehicle you want. So that moment there, despite the fact all that, the snake bites, I knew I had to have one. I went to Volo Auto Museum, big museum out in Volo, Illinois. They usually specialize in older muscle cars, but they did have a 14 GTS. Beautiful white with blue stripes, exactly what I was looking for. Ended up pulling the trigger, buying it, and then it had to be my first road trip for it. So found out the Tail of the Dragon, they have a Vipers Association there, the Carolinas and the Tennessee. They do one every year, so road tripped it from Wisconsin, where we're from, all the way to Tennessee. We did have a stop there in Kentucky because it's about 1,200 miles. So 600 miles to Kentucky, 600 miles to Tennessee. Once we got to the Tail of the Dragon, they have their first meetings, just to introduce themselves and have a nighttime dinner just to go over everything, go over the game plan for the next couple days. That was the night. The morning after, we decided to drive it and get a police escort out of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And then, as the leader says, we're going to go Viper fast. So I'm not going to say exactly how fast I was going, but we went Viper fast. Down the Cherahalla first, so beautiful Tennessee winding roads where you can just do carving up the mountains and doing nice sweeps. So much fun. And then I've never had any experience on the Tail of the Dragon, but that is intense. Over 300 curves and 14 miles. So the whole time you're just doing this and holding on for dear life. I didn't know what to expect with being Viper fast, but it was a little more aggressive than I was originally anticipating, but we got through it. I remember I was following a Gen 4 Viper ACR. That person's done it quite a few times, so it had some experience. And I said, okay, now I have a new benchmark. Do not lose sight of the Gen 4 Viper ACR. So we get through that, and when we start doing the foothills and the rest of the roads down in that Tennessee, Carolina area, we meet up at this dam area. It's a great spot where we can take photos, meet up, talk about the experience a little bit. And then we also had lunch reservations. This was the fun part because we were all hungry at the time because we already got an early start. So as soon as we got back in our cars, everyone just gunned it as fast as they can, carving up these roads. We must have all been hangry because we decided that we were going to give it everything we got. Had a great lunch. Everything was set up. The Vipers Association does a wonderful job scheduling all that. But then after that, we do have some downtime. We decided, Breck and myself, we were going to go back to the Tail, and this time without the group because we needed to kill some time because we were done for the day. Went back on the Tail of the Dragon. I'm by myself, and we're doing the same thing. We're cruising. Now, I'll tell you, Viper fast when you're in with the Vipers is a different story than when you're just by yourself. So I'm still in the mindset of we're going to go Viper fast. I'm about a third of the way through, and I hear this whiny noise behind me. I go, what is that? Turns out it's a Trackhawk, Jeep Grand Cherokee, 700 horsepower, 4x4. I go, okay. Now I have a new goal in mind. I have to lose this Trackhawk. So now we're really moving. We're going back to Viper fast. About halfway through, I had a little conversation with the state trooper in Tennessee. He ended up pulling both of us over, both myself and the guy that was following me that I was trying to lose. He got a ticket for ended up just being too close to the person in front of you. I actually got the speeding ticket. That put a little bit of a damper on there, but overall, pleasant. He didn't give me too much hard time. He saw Viper, he saw Tail of the Dragon. He understood the situation. Ended up fighting it, long story short, getting the ticket dropped. But I was feeling a little bummed after the ticket, and I get done with the Tail of the Dragon and I kind of pull off. And then, kind of off over to the cliffs, I see the guy that was riding my you-know-what. And I didn't want to talk to him, but my buddy Breck, he goes, you got to talk to him. You got to talk to him. I go, why? I'm kind of bummed. I didn't really want a speeding ticket. He goes, no, you gotta talk to him. I go, okay, fine. I pull in. Turns out he's the nicest guy in the world. I have a beautiful photo of us both holding up our ticket citations, photo together. He ends up opening a bunch of Mopar, Trackhawks and Challengers and Chargers and all of this stuff. And I'm actually glad we decided to do that. So I ended up having a nice conversation. The guy was cool. I think he ended up getting his ticket either lowered or dropped as well. Next day, did the same thing all over again. Vipers Association. Now you're with the group. Once you're with the group, you're less likely to get pulled over. So you could get off and go there. So my advice, if you are going to go on Tail the Dragon, go in a group setting to where you're not just by yourself. Coming from what a little I knew from Breck's Gen 1 Viper, you still have that rawness. You still have, going from his to mine, you still have that American visceral experience where you have to drive this vehicle. Even in my car, the 2014, Gen 5, last generation, there's very little aids. You just have to drive this vehicle. And that is everything that I loved in a vehicle. I want that rawness. I want that experience of you have to physically shift the vehicle. Having that big rear tires, 355s in the rear, and knowing that's what you have to protect yourself. And if you do it too much, you're going to end up doing a little bit of drifting. But what's really good about the Vipers, and what I always was hoping it was true when I got mine, is that it did require you to actually drive the vehicle. It doesn't have those aids that you were looking for. And that's why I've always been in love with that Viper. It has that sort of rebel mentality that says, I don't care. And it lived up to that expectation through and through. So this is my 4th year owning the Dodge Viper. And I've returned to the Tail 3 more additional times. I'm planning on going later this year. It's something I do see almost as a forever car. It has been my dream. I'm not typically one to get rid of cars. I have a 1994 Dodge Stealth RT Twin Turbo that's still kicking. So I'm going to keep that. That has a special meaning to me, and the Viper does as well. I plan on having this car forever. As far as maintenance goes, it has been very reliable. Here's the cool part about a Viper is it is a Dodge in the sense that it's a Dodge to repair. So oil changes, pretty reasonable. It's not the $500 Aston Martin oil change. It's just, $150 or something. And I have had put new links on the vehicle, a couple minor things here and there suspension wise, but it's been a very reliable car. That V10 is really sound. I've heard of good stories of it lasting for a long time, and I plan on keeping it for a long time as well.
This month of VINwiki content is brought to you by Bridgestone, and the most exciting tire from Bridgestone right now is the brand new RE71RZ. That's their extreme max performance summer tire that is championing pole position. It's built for the grassroots motorsports crowd and offers much better on-track wear patterns than we saw out of the amazing RE71RS that it is now replacing. It uses Bridgestone's enlightened technology to deliver long-lasting performance and much more responsive control. And the RE71RZ is now available across North America in 45 sizes since December 31st of last year. This new tire meets all requirements for SCCA racing and will be eligible for competition use in 2026 for solo and time trials. This new tire is 0.74 seconds faster on a dry lap and 0.75 of a second faster in a wet lap compared to the outgoing RE71RS. This really is an amazing new sports car and supercar tire from Bridgestone, so check it out now, along with everything else that we love about Bridgestone, at the link in the description below.